Well, howdy do. This is English Ned, broadcasting to you on my YouTube channel as I try to do every day. Something came up this morning in my discussions with a significant person in my life, and I've been on this kick of telling stories lately. I'm going to do a few of those today. Maybe not right here, but they'll go on YouTube with everything else. So anyway, I seem to have been taken over suddenly by a character and possessed, and I got this accent, which a lot of you are thinking, "Oh God, what the hell are you doing? You putting this on or what?" No, I'm not putting you on. I can't shake this. Came on me several days ago, and I've been trying to get rid of it, and you just can't do a damn thing about it. So I'm owning it, and I'm accepting the fact that I am now English Ned, and that this change might be permanent. I mean, perhaps I could lose the accent if I were to get a part and needed to, but for right now, I can't do a damn thing, I swear. So, since we're on the subject of stories, I thought that I would film a few of my own stories, so you know a bit about what makes English Ned English Ned. And this one here is a story about one of my many near-death experiences that have shaped my life. This one was probably, out of the early ones, the most significant, and I think set me on a path to deep spirituality, where I remain committed and where I try to deepen myself every day of my life. So here's how it is. It's back in oh gosh, I think it was the 80s, okay? And I was living in New York City in Brooklyn, and I was working installing audio and video systems into the homes of insanely rich people that lived in the tri-state area. So one day I had a job up in Connecticut for a man named Toombs, appropriately enough, I guess, right? So as you'll see. So I got home. I didn't get home till about 1 o'clock in the morning. I worked very late. Didn't have any help that day. I was by myself. So I had a couple of heavy briefcases that I carried for my work. And parked my car at 1 o'clock. I had an 82 Camaro Berlinetta, reasonably fast, heavy, and sexy kind of car for a guy like me. But I didn't have much shorter hair back then. So I parked my car, got out my briefcases, and I walked into my building. I was tired. I wasn't in a very good mood. And as I got into my building lobby and the door was closing, the entrance door was closing behind me, I saw suddenly someone out of the corner of my eye racing very fast to beat the door. Now, neighbors will sometimes do this, but I knew this was no neighbor because of the speed that they were running. I said, this is serious shit, okay? So the next thing I know, I'm confronted by a young boy about 15 years old. And he didn't really say anything. He just looked scared and looked at me and pointed the gun in my belly. So I dropped my briefcases and very slowly took out my wallet, and then I opened it. I grabbed all the cash I had, and I said, here, take this, please. But by this time, outside the locked door appeared a second young man, older than the first, about maybe 20 years old, I think. And he started calling the show. And he said, take those cases too. I said, no, man. I said, don't take my cases. I need those to make my living. Please don't take them. I gave you every bit of money I had. You can see I'm not holding out. Take it and go, please. Now you know. I said, please. If you don't know it yet, you will from another of my stories. Please is a magic word that is not to be fucked with. And please is a magic word that can save your life when the devil is at your throat. Remember that. So anyway, despite my pleas, the older fellow said, "Take the cases too." And the kid picked up my cases and ran out front of the building with the other boy. So, of course, I followed them out, and I saw there was a third young man at the probably about the age of the first. He was outside at the curb with 3 bicycles. So I ran out. I saw them get on their bikes and start riding up the street the wrong way. And I ran back in looking for anything I could do to call attention. And so I pulled the fire alarm in the elevator in my building and ran back outside again, thinking that by the time I could run upstairs to my apartment and call the police, these young men would be gone. And that would be that. So all of a sudden, a massive halogen light bulb went off in my head, right? And I said to myself, wait a minute. These cats are on bikes and I have a car. This is a no-brainer. I mean, I wasn't even angry. I was really just thinking logically about what I could do. So I hopped in my car and fired it up and rammed around a U-turn and went tearing down the street after these kids, right? Like a madman. So I caught up to him a block and a half later. There was some construction in the road where they were putting in a new sewer. So it was very, pretty much a dirt road and ditches and all kinds of shit with barrels and you name it, right? So I caught up to him right there. And the first one that saw me was the one who had the gun. And he took a look at me, and he was a black kid. And he turned white, seriously. First, he was really upset, looking at me like this, right? And then all of a sudden, he just, literally all the color went out of his face. And so I clipped his back tire. Didn't really hurt him, but he went down into the dirt and then got up and ran like a cockroach, leaving the bike there with my cases. So then I went and took out the 20-year-old ringleader with a similar result. He left his bike and ran between 2 houses like a mouse, and I never saw him again. By that time, number 3 had gotten away about another block further up. So I went after number 3 and caught up to him in someone's front yard on Ocean Avenue in Brooklyn. And he was pissing his pants, I think literally, and trying to stammer at me some fucking story about how they were trying to rob him, right? So I said, look, I don't want to hear your fucking shit. You get the fuck out of this neighborhood and don't you ever let me see you again. He did, and I never have. So I went back to where I had taken them all down, and some people, it's New York being what it is, people always walking by, so there were some pedestrians, and I asked them if they could help me. I just wanted somebody to stand watch in case they came back for the shit, So I loaded all the bikes into my car with my tools, and they had gotten, I think, $140 from me. I wound up having my folks sell the bikes in a household sale, and I think I got $120 back. And they got some pretty sore fucking bruises on their asses, every one of them. And they learned you don't fuck with English Ned, okay? I don't even have to do anything to people myself. Things happen to people who try to hurt me, and it's just the way it's always been. So if you're my friend, I know how to return a favor. If you think you're going to hurt me, you will also have the favor returned. But there are several stories like this that I want to talk about. I guess to conclude this one, when I started telling my friends what I had done, there were different reactions. Mostly they were alarmed or whatever, believed that I was okay. Some of them would have said, you should have fucking killed the bastards. And I said, no, I never even had a thought to do such a thing. I was completely calm and rational during the whole process. I just did what was logically, to me, the best decision to get the results I wanted, which was not necessarily seeing these boys put in jail. And had I done such a thing, had I killed one or had I hospitalized one, then that would have made me in the wrong. And I can't do that. I'm sworn never to harm another physically. And just like I'm sworn to never tell a lie. Now, when I tell you the next story, it's the one time I actually did kind of hurt somebody else. But it's only because it was the only thing I could think of logically that was going to save my life. But that's a story for another film following this one.